Code everything.
Alright guys, in honor of the Hour of Code week, we are doing some of Codecademy's Hour of Code. You can get to these if you go to codecademy.com/hour of code, or just go down to the general courses and pull everything up. So we're going to do an About You section, so we're going to just kind of do it about me, I guess. And I'll be explaining as we go along. So in this case, this is called a heading. A heading is, you declare it with a h1 tag and a closing h1 tag, and we'll just do it based off whatever my YouTube name is, Coding Tutorials 360. So you can see right there our heading changed, and there's also various headings. So we can give it an h4, and obviously we need to, and you can see right here that these actually will adjust in terms of size. So h1 being the largest, I believe it goes all the way up to h6. And it's later down the road when we're doing styling, this will be very important, because you'll constantly be targeting these things. So your h1 may have a very specific purpose, and so this is a heading basically. And that's the way to think of it is just kind of a title. That's kind of how I think of it. Next, we're going to be adding a paragraph, and this should be pretty intuitive. It's just a p tag, and then a closing p tag. And in this case, what are we gonna add? We're gonna say we have almost 1,000 subscribers. I think I'm at like 970 right now when I'm making this video, so that's pretty cool to me. So let's continue on right here. Reset the code. Sorry if I'm resetting it. I did this in the past. With somebody I was tutoring. We were doing on Pokemon, so that's kind of what you're seeing. So we're gonna add an input type email. So let's go ahead and we'll say input type is equal to email, and then we're going with another line. We're gonna add another line that says input type equals submit. Don't forget your quotes for this. So now we have a submit button. You can see, because we haven't put any like line breaks, that it's gonna be on the same line. So if we wanted it down a line below, we could throw a line break with that br/, but that's what they've instructed. So we have a box here where we're gonna type in an email, and then we're gonna submit it. We haven't really told it where to go with all that yet, but we'll worry about it later. So there's also, your input type can also have a placeholder. A placeholder is kind of that grayed out text in like input boxes, where it says like put your email here or anything like that. So we're gonna give it a placeholder, and we're just gonna put email, so people know what to put in there. That way we don't have to have a title. We still could, but this might be a little more intuitive. So cool. So what else are we doing here? So right now they want us to create some styling tags. So we're gonna have style /style, and inside here, typically you would probably just use a CSS document, but right now this is how they're having us do it. So in our style tags, we want to target our h1. So what do we want our h1? So we need to declare the h1, and in here is where we're going to put our style. So there's something called text-align, and as you can guess, this is something that's going to align the text. So we're, in this case, we put center, and you can see the output right here is now centered. It's pretty intuitive. There's so much you can do with styling, and it's definitely something to get good at, because even if you don't want to go on to learning maybe JavaScript or anything else, say you're really big with graphic design, learn HTML, learn CSS, and styling will get you everywhere you want to go. So in this case, they want us to set all our paragraphs to inherit the p tags. We want that to have the aligned text as well. So we're going to go ahead and align this, and we're going to put it center. So now our text is center, just like our heading. Pretty cool. Alright, so on the new line, add your style, add a body tag. Element, add a body tag. Alright, so we're going to add body. And typically we would probably be giving our inputs names and classes instead of overriding all H1s, but that's not what we're worried about right now. Then replace your H1 and P selectors with the new body selector. Remember to set the text line to center for your entire body. So I think what they want us to do right here is just do a body, and we're going to, so there's something built in called body, and this is kind of where the bulk of your code goes, bulk of your HTML. And in this case, we want body to inherit everything here, and then we actually want to take this text dash align, throw it in body, and we want to, I think they want us to take this out. So let's see. So you can see right here now everything is centered because we said, look, everything in body, align that center, and we don't have anything that's interfering with that. Alright, so wrap a set of head tags around your style tags. So in your HTML document, the head is kind of where all the data goes that isn't displayed. So maybe we're importing some files that are going to be CSS files, or maybe Bootstrap files, or anything else. All the stuff that isn't going to actually be displayed on the page is typically what we put the head tag in, and that's why we're just putting our style tag in there as well. So we're going to add this doctype.html. I wish I could tell you why this is the first thing, but I actually, oh, even before this comment, I guess. But this is just something that I know needs to be in the document. Do not place your head tag. You need to add the doctype HTML before it. All right, let's see what's going on here. Assume some sort of error. Head. Let's get rid of this comment. There we go. I just assumed that comment had to be there because it was in there in the first place. But anyhow, so add a new style rule to the body. Set the background to black. So again, this is another parameter that we can use for our body element. So what we're going to do is we're going to say background, and then we're just going to give it color. There's certain colors that are built in. Black is one of them. Okay, and then so we're setting the background to black, but that kind of blurs out the text. We can't see it now anymore. So what we also want to do is say anything in body that takes in color, we want to set that to white. So you can see right now all our fonts and all our text is now in white, so we can actually see it. So let's say that we want to actually change what type of font we're using. So this is where we put font family, and we're gonna give it the family of Helvetica. Apologize if I'm not pronouncing that right. Oops. One too many E's. And then you can see right now this changed. Cool. So that's how you change the font. Make it pretty. So let's see what this... So they want us to show how to insert a image. So the way that we insert an image is we... let's put it at the bottom. Actually, let's put it between the paragraph here. So in their course, they have a little Vincent van Gogh thing. So what's going on here is we're saying, look, for this image tag, notice there's no closing tag for image. Our source is this URL. So let me, we're going to go to my Facebook page real quick, and we're going to copy image address, and then we're just going to put in our own image here. So in this case, we got me right here from a H1Z1 YouTube Space LA event. And then we have, in this case, we set height and width to 250. So if we take this out, it's going to get much bigger. But we want it in there because we want it somewhat small. We have almost 1,000 subscribers. So cool. So that's how you insert an image. Again, notice that you have no, and depending on what version, you may want to put a slash at the end. I believe either way should work. Replace the H1 tag with the image tag. Oh, alright. So we're getting rid of H1. Save and submit. So no more H1s. So now we want to change the background to something. So let's see what you do. So in this case, instead of saying background black, we're gonna say URL. Then we're gonna have this, and then we're gonna put a background color into it. So let's see what they have and see if we want to be working with that. So they have a Vincent Van Gogh one. Let me go ahead and find mine real quick. Alright, so I found a nice background. Let's go ahead and just add this one. I got this from Unsplash. It's a great sort of resource to use. This is the original background, as you can see here. All these images are high resolution and copyright free, so if you ever need any sort of, oh, I want an image, or unsplash.com, UNSPLASH. It's a great site. I use it all the time. A lot of times when you see stock photos and things, a lot of companies will get it from Unsplash. I've seen it myself personally. So yeah, so we don't want the background to be tiled, and so what are we going to do? We're going to add something called the background-size and cover. So here we go, background. I don't think this will affect it too much because of the size of the photo. It's such a high resolution. So we're going to do cover. And so you see right here, what's actually going on is that it's going to cover, the image is changing. It's basically going to cover the width of it the best it can. And that's kind of the point of it. So we also want to background-position, center it. So let's go ahead and add that as well. Background dash position. And if you're curious why there's two, those are the X and Y coordinates that we're targeting. If I remember correctly, I think that's correct. Center. So center it on the X and center it on the Y. Cool. And then finally we want to set it so that there's no tile and it's not repeating. So we want to say background dash repeat. No. Oops. No repeat. And why, you may be saying, like, why are we worried about that? Because there are multiple, nowadays we're dealing with tablets, watches even, phones, televisions, and 4K TVs and all this sort of stuff. So more or less the reason is that we just need to address all these things, not because it's an issue right now, but because it could be down the road. And finally, the background dash attachment fixed means that our background, when we scroll up and down, isn't going to be adjusting. So pretty cool. So let's go ahead and save and submit this. Not bad. So there's also a way that we can target the font. So we can so in this case, they want us to actually target the paragraph, because we want to only have the paragraph change the font dash size. So as you can imagine, when we set font dash size, we are going to put it in pixels here. So we're going to say 24 pixels, so you can see this gets better. We can also, I believe, let's see if we can do this, 200%. So we can do it in that, or we could do like 1.5 M. So it's 1.5, the normal size, and so 2.0. So in this case, we're just going to do 24. So there's a couple different ways we can do it. I prefer to do it in size of emphasis, or M, just because I believe it scales better when you're trying to do responsive design later on. All right, so add a new style section called input. So remember our input tags, the email and the button here. So we're going to set input, and we're also going to give it a border. So imagine everything has kind of like a box that outlines it. And so when we grab in all our stuff here, you can kind of see a box on here. We're actually going to put a border around these things so it's a little bit easier to see. In this case, we're going to give a border, a border of 0, which shouldn't give it a border at all. So you see nothing's changed. There's no border right now, unless there was a border beforehand. Yeah, it looks like it took the little bit of border that was on there off. So apparently by default there's a tiny bit of border. So it looks like the next thing we're going to be talking about is padding. So what is padding? Padding is kind of it gives space between the element you're targeting and the kind of the box around it. So in this case, let's go ahead and I think we're supposed to add it to the body. So let's go ahead and do padding. So look at the right here, the space right here, and we're just giving general padding, so it's going to apply to all sides. Oh my god, why isn't this working? Oh, there we go. So it's actually I got that confused with margins. So padding is the actual element, margins is the elements around it. So you can see right here that our padding, we just added 12 pixels of padding in each direction. So on the right side, the left side, the top side, and the bottom side. And we can actually target, I think it's padding dash left, just to target the left and the right, and all that sort of stuff. So, which they just wanted it on input. Okay, so we want our box to be bigger. So let's go ahead and submit that. All right. So next thing, we've added some padding, and we're like, oh, our font here is a little bit small. Let's go ahead and just target that and make it a little bit bigger. And we're going to set it to 18px. And you can see right now our font's a little bit bigger now. Pretty cool. So set the input types color to black. So we have a type here called submit and a type called email. So in this case, let's go ahead and just copy this over. We're going to be much more specific. So what you need to know about this is you're going to inherit everything from input, and anything that's more specific will override it. So in this case, we're going to say background dash color to black. And because this is the most specific, it's going to change if you spell background correctly. There we go. And then we want, oh, excuse me, color. Just color to black. And then finally we want to also change the background to lime green. The background lime green, which I didn't actually know is a thing. So our font here is black, and our background color for our input type submit is lime green. So the probably easier way is just to give this a name or a class and go from there. So pretty cool. So make this your own page, upload your own image to Imgur, and include it there. So I think that is the end of our thing here, and we've already kind of done our own thing, and it's not too bad. So we learned a little bit about padding, we learned about headings, we learned how to do a little bit of styling in CSS, and I think for what is supposed to be an hour sort of introductory course to hour of code, it's not a bad thing to show you, like, oh, look how easy this is. We've written 41 lines of code, most of it styling, and we're able to make a little basic web page. So I hope you guys found this sort of hour of code basic video. I know it's only about an 8-minute video should take you about an hour, but in reality, I've been doing this a little bit longer than most people who are watching this video. So if I'm going too fast, just pause the video and try to understand it. I'm always sort of messing up, but I'm always sort of learning, and that's kind of how this goes sometimes. So I hope you guys appreciate the video. Questions, comments, concerns, anything constructive is always appreciated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.